Are you tired of this happening? Well, I can help change that. Hello everyone, welcome to the third part on how to get good in sport mode. Today, we're going to be ranking all the shooters that are in sport mode. We're going to be going over their various strengths and weaknesses, and also, we're going to be providing some general tips on how to use these things more effectively. So without further ado, let's rank all the shooters from worst to best. Starting off this list, we have the Revolver. Now, just like the hammer, the Revolver is not a bad weapon per se. It's just outclassed by so many other weapons that do such a better job. But let's look at some of the things that the Revolver has to offer. The Revolver has 6 ammunition, low body damage, and high headshot damage. The Revolver is quite an interesting weapon, making it a decent weapon at assassinating single targets. But its main drawback is its ammo size and reloading time. You see, when you're out of ammo, you're going to need to painstakingly put every single tiny bullet into the Revolver, which can take upwards of 3 to 5 seconds. Now during that time of reloading, you could be killed by all the dummies and not have a way to defend yourself, since your 2 hands are occupied by reloading the gun. Another thing is that you gotta be accurate with the weapon. Any body shots will be instantly nullified by the enemy, as they barely do any damage whatsoever. So my main tip for this weapon is be accurate and aim for those headshots. This gun rewards you for aiming for headshots, as it deals insane damage and can insta-kill. Next up on our list is the DT-22. Now, there's a very big gap between the Revolver and the DT-22. The DT-22 is actually a pretty good weapon, so let's go over some of the things that the DT-22 has to offer. The DT-22 is a shotgun type weapon with 2 ammo and pretty good damage. Its main abilities are, of course, its shotgun. But the hidden thing of the DT-22 is that it packs quite a punch. You see, the shots from the DT-22 can actually dismember limbs. Its many shots can send enemies flying backwards and landing on the ground, which you can go in for an easy kill. But the main reason why I'm not ranking this higher is because of its 2 ammo count. However, the DT-22 has a very high skill ceiling. You see, you can do this thing called quick loading. Instead of loading 2 shells in a tricky scenario, you only load 1 with half the time used, so you can get the same amount of damage to kill for 1 target in half the amount of time. Simply load 1 shell in, fire the shot, quickly launch it out, then load the second shell in. Then fire the gun, then load the other in and fire the second shot. That way, you can kill dummies much easier by firing shots in between your loading rounds. Up next, we have the MP5. Now the MP5 is another old school weapon just like the D22 and the Revolver. Boasting a magazine size of 30, decent headshot damage, and low body shot damage, this weapon is the first automatic weapon to be featured on this list. Now this weapon is truly outclassed by all other automatics on this list because of its low damage. But this weapon boasts a high fire rate that other automatics do not have. And that high fire rate is 7 SPS, shots per second. So that's why I'm placing this weapon here. Up next we have the C-1911, which I'm going to be calling the Desert Eagle. Now the Desert Eagle is its mirror counterpart to the next weapon on our list, as of that while the other 22 focuses over more shots over damage, the Desert Eagle focuses on damage over shots. The reason why I don't put these 2 weapons in the same spot is because of the newest update's introduction of silencers, meaning that the other 22 can have silencers now, making it a superior weapon. So let's go over some of the things that the Desert Eagle has to offer. With a magazine size of 8, good headshot damage, and decent body damage, this weapon is surely a good weapon for assassinations. Although not as effective against crowds, this weapon still holds its own. My recommendation, like the Revolver, aim for headshots. This weapon certainly rewards you for such feats. Up next we have the Eder 22. As I've said before, this weapon prefers magazine size over damage, meaning you get more buck for your bang. Unlike the Desert Eagle, which you get more bang for your buck. With a magazine size of 15, decent headshot damage, and decent body damage, this weapon is truly a generalist weapon. Before the 0.6 update, this weapon was on the same level as the Desert Eagle. But with the introduction of silencers, this weapon has truly become above the Desert Eagle. With the silencer, which allows no dummies to hear your shot, and laser sight for better accuracy. My general tip for this weapon is that you use the silencer most of the time, as it forbids enemy dummies from hearing your shot, meaning you can take out dummies easier without attracting any others. Also, like all other pistols, aim for headshots. Up next we have the MP5K. Now the MP5K is another old school weapon, just like the Revolver in the D22. Like its predecessor, the MP5, the MP5K boasts a magazine size of 30 and considerably higher fire rate too. You see, the MP5K is a much better weapon than the MP5, being that it has a higher fire rate for the same amount of ammo, which means it can put out more damage more easily in a shorter time frame, killing more dummies easily. And it can be held in pairs, meaning you can double your damage output. Up next we have the AKM, which I'm going to be calling the AK-47. With a magazine size of 30, pretty good headshot damage, and decent body shot damage with high accuracy, this weapon is your all-purpose sniping tool. This weapon has majorly good accuracy, being able to snipe people from afar. Its main downside is it kind of lacks when it comes to close quarters combat, being not as effective though. My general tip for this weapon is that you fire it like a semi-automatic weapon. So that way, you'll get less recoil from the weapon and be able to accurately hit the opponent. So that's why I'm placing this weapon here in A tier. Up next we have S tier with some of the best weapons. Starting off this tier, we have the MK18. Before the 0.6 update, the MK18 was probably in A or B tier. But with the introduction of the silencer and laser sight, this weapon has truly become a top tier weapon. So let's go over the things this weapon has to offer. Boasting a magazine size of 30, pretty good headshot damage, and decent body shot damage, this weapon has become the top tier automatic weapon. You see, this weapon allows you to chain together multiple headshot kills at once. I find myself getting many accidental headshot kills from a dummy I killed and the bullets traveling past the dummy I killed into the next one, causing 2 deaths at once. Plus, with the silencers, this weapon has become an effective stealth weapon too, being able to easily pick off targets at ease without the dummies noticing your shots. So that's why I placed this weapon here. Up next is one of my personal favorite weapons, the 590A1, which I'm going to be calling the Tactical Shotgun. Boasting a magazine size of 5, good headshot damage, and good body shot damage, this weapon has a wide array of uses. First off, its shotgun strength has almost the same strength of the DT22 with more ammo, meaning that this is just a better version of the DT22 with more ammo. This weapon also has a pretty high skill ceiling. Because of that, fun fact! Did you know this weapon has no reload cooldown? And also, you can pull the trigger as many times as you want. So when you combine the two, you can do this. That's why I'm putting this weapon here. Now, what could surpass this ultimate generalist weapon? Well, it was a close call, but... It was close competition, and I mean close competition, but the best sport mode shooter goes to the grenade launcher. Boasting a magazine size of 1, infinite headshot damage, and infinite body shot damage, this weapon is the true bringer of Armageddon. You see, just like the 2 other shotguns on this list, this weapon boasts a very high skill ceiling, meaning that you can quick reload every 2 seconds with this weapon. So this weapon basically becomes a semi-automatic nuke launcher. This weapon instantly incinerates any enemies that stand within its path. So make sure you know what you're doing when you're using this weapon. So make sure you study up on physics before you use this weapon. With enough practice, this weapon can become your ultimate wave slayer. And so there we have it. Those are all the shooters in sport mode ranked from worst to best. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more content like this. And I'll see you guys in the next video.